Behind me is what Porsche deemed to be the flagship of their lineup. So, many years on, does it leave disappointment or delight? Let's find out. Some called it a land shark thanks to its ferocious shark-like stance. The late model turbo twist wheels add modern style and I think look much better than the originals. The front really looks good, but I think the back end is really what makes the Porsche 928 pop. The rear hatch design with all that glass looked awesome then, and I still think it does today. Overall, it was bold and innovative for the late 70s, and it has stood the test of time very well. For its day, the interior was extremely luxurious and extremely high-tech, too. You got a real handbrake on the left side of the front seat, along with a knob to control the audio in the door here, and also automatic trunk release. You got fully adjustable power seats, as well as Porsche sports seats. These have covers on them because, like many of these, the interior gets a bit shabby over time. You had custom Porsche carpet to match the 928 logoed steering wheel. The armrest also doubles as a bit of storage, although it's very shallow. The outside buttons control your power windows. This one controls the sunroof. This one right here controls the rear wiper, and this one is actually just there for looks. V8, doesn't do anything. This 928S comes with a 4-speed automatic transmission. You could also have a 5-speed manual. You've got a digital clock. I just added the Porsche emblem for good looks. This one has an aftermarket CD player, Pioneer, and also, of course, this is an AC car, so you do have air conditioning, and you also have this one cancels the warning lights, and this one controls your power locks. That's the AC on and off button, and this one controls your fan. You get plenty of vents all around on the doors, up top here. This one has a dash pad cover because as often these dashes tend to get cracked. You get a tray for storage underneath the glove compartment, and even on the driver's side too, another tray there for storage. Porsche seems to have thought of everything right inside the door. Here, you even have a bit more storage. Very cool. Unlike the 911, you do have the key on the right side, hazard lights here, and defrost. On the left side, more lighting controls, turn signal stalk there, wipers here, and cruise control down there. The gauges are very basic and Porsche-like. You get a big tachometer, big speedometer, in this case 165 miles an hour. Temperature gauge, also fuel gauge, and over here, oil pressure, and also a voltmeter. Overall, it's a great, comfortable, grand touring interior, especially for its day. Out back you get 2 seats, well, sort of seats. They're good enough for kids, certainly. You also have a big armrest in the middle, which doubles as storage too. Out and back, go ahead and pop the trunk here, and you've got plenty of storage, even a cargo net. Underneath the carpet you get a spare tire, and also the battery is underneath there as well. And just at the back here they've even cleverly fit the toolkit as well. Of course you can fold the seats down, and then you've got very impressive storage for a sports car. When it debuted, the 1978 Porsche 928 was powered by a 4.5-liter V8, which produced 220 horsepower and 245 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 took about 6 seconds. Powering my 1984 928 test car is a 4.7-liter V8, which produces 232 horsepower. The 5-liter was introduced in 1985 and made 326 horsepower. 0 to 60 took 5.5 seconds, and they were famous for being the fastest 4-seater in the world. These 32-valve cars were a bit more complicated and prone to fatal breakdowns if not cared for properly. Early 16-valve engines seemed to be basically foolproof. In 1984, the Porsche 928S had a top speed in the US of 146 miles per hour. Porsche boldly claimed the 928S to be the fastest street-legal production car ever sold in the US. In terms of fuel economy, you can expect about 20 miles per gallon on the highway, but you'll average anywhere from 15 to 17, depending on the size of your V8 engine. Well, I've just done it. I bought a
an icon, the Porsche 928. You can remember in the movie Risky Business, Porsche, there is no substitute, catchphrase said by Tom Cruise in that movie. And really ever since then, this car has been something that Gen Xers lust after. It was actually created to replace the 911, but purists would have absolutely nothing to do with that. There's no way this car could replace the Porsche 911 because, after all, it's got the wrong layout. It's not rear-engined, and it's not air-cooled. No, it's got a radiator. It's got a big V8 engine, rear-wheel drive, and although it's extremely capable as a GT car, it's just not something that's going to replace the 911. Purists rebelled. But still, although the 928 never caught on the way the 911 did, it still has some definite devotees. And it's a car that really has a shape all its own. The pop-up headlights and just everything about it. It is such an incredibly cool car. It gets a lot of stares and looks, and it's an icon. What can you say? So popular, in fact, a four-seater Grand Touring Porsche, well, they recreated it with the Panamera, and I think they should have kept a little closer to the shape of this 928, actually, but that's okay. It's still an incredibly cool car. The Panamera is, of course, years beyond this one in terms of its refinement and even speed. This was a very quick car for its day, but this 4.7 liter version, well, it's quick, 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds, but the next generation was faster. Actually 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, so it really started being faster, but it also got more expensive to maintain. This is a more simple car, easier to maintain. I think these 1982, 1983, 1984 Porsche 928s are really where it's at. People like the styling of the earlier cars, and I think for good reason. The later ones are clearly faster. They have more bulges and that sort of thing. But I just think this is sort of the quintessential shape of the car. When it came out in the late 70s, it really blew people away. They really loved it. And it never did really sell quite as well as the 911, but it sold well. And it does have a huge cult following. Handling and performance are what Porsches are all about, and the 928 does not disappoint. Though it has the classic American muscle car layout, big V8 engine up front and rear-wheel drive, it actually has a 50-50 weight distribution thanks to the transmission being fitted to the rear of the car. In fact, it's sometimes referred to as a German muscle car. Handling is therefore very neutral, and although the 928 is thought of more as a grand touring car, it won't let you down when the roads get twisty. It was actually released to much fanfare back in the late 70s when it was introduced. It was fresh engineering from the ground up, and the Germans don't take their car design and engineering lightly. Though many 928s have hundreds of thousands of miles by now, the engines and transmissions rarely fail. What you want to look out for is the electrical system. On my test car, everything works except for some functions of the power seats. Rust was not a big issue because a good portion of the 928 is made from aluminum. This car has some rust spots on the body, but overall it's in pretty good shape. It could definitely use a respray, but as it is, it runs and drives very well. If you're looking for a used Porsche 928, there are a lot to choose from in the low end of the spectrum, with decent running examples starting around $4,000 or $5,000. Like my test car, they might not be perfect to look at, and they may have some issues, but they should get you from A to B with a heck of a lot of vintage Porsche style. Just like when you're buying a used 911, they say with the 928 you should buy the best car you can afford. Once you get into 5 digits, the cars are probably going to be low mileage cars that have been well maintained. Of course, it's a good idea to take it to a specialist to have it checked out, as some repairs can be quite expensive on the 928. In other words, you might be able to buy one inexpensively, but you may need to spend even more than you paid to get it up to snuff. So the bottom line is, if you're considering a Porsche 928, there's a lot to choose from. You can go for a good solid daily driver like this one, or you can spend up to $30,000 or $40,000 on a pristine late model example. Any way you go though, Porsche 928 delivers excellent performance, and it's really just a stunning car. Land Shark. I'm Drivin Ivan Katz. Don't forget to subscribe to me on Twitter, and also don't forget to check out my other videos on YouTube. Thanks for watching.